Welcome back to Stribling's New York. I'm your host, Rob Taub. We were listening to Melissa Cohn, who knows more about the economy than anybody we've ever had on this show. She is very smart and helpful. And I always suggest that everybody call that direct number. She's the only person now I know that actually answers their phone. And we have a fantastic guest in the studio with us now, Nadine Jacinto, who I met at the Sette Mezzo restaurant. Let's give them a free plug. They've never even bought me a piece of bread there, but they have a fantastic food and the best cheesecake I've ever had. And I was there with my friend, the infamous Jimmy Jama, and we started talking to Nadine and her friend Christina, who's also sitting in the studio. And as often happens to me as a minor celebrity, people said, "You look familiar." And I said, "Yes, you probably recognize me from television." And they said, No, we think we saw you once at a bar mitzvah or a birthday party. You were the clown that was with the balloons." I said, "That wasn't me." Anyway, Nadine is a radio personality in the Philippines and also on television. Welcome, Nadine.
Thank you very much, Rob. Actually, I thought you were an actor.
Oh, well, thank you.
When I saw you at the other table, but
Brad Pitt.
When he's not selling apartments, he's acting.
Okay.
So tell me about radio in the Philippines, because you were mentioning how powerful and influential it is, and you have an interesting history. And all I know about the Philippines is that Imelda Marcos owned a lot of shoes, and Muhammad
yes.
Ali fought the Thrill in Manila there.
Okay. Well, radio is like one of the most important mass mediums in the Philippines. It can reach the most remote areas. It's very affordable, and it's steadily like the most personalized type of media. People love radio. Everybody listens to it from morning to night, throughout their day, during work, on their way to work, on their way back from work. If they're farmers in the fields, they have a transistor radio with them. If they're fishermen in boats, they have a radio with them as well out there. If they're working in offices or in banks, they have the radio turned on. And there's a lot of traffic in the major cities, so no matter what form of public transportation you're taking, there's a radio that's on. If you're in your car, you turn on the radio too.
So is it? How would it be compared to the United States X number of years ago? Because there was a point where we were a radio culture. I grew up in it, and we had a handful of stations. Listened to WOR, especially for news, and we had WABC, which played all the rock and roll. And I used to go to sleep every night with a transistor radio at my bed, listening to a DJ known as Cousin Brucey, who is still alive and working on Sirius Radio now.
Oh, well, I work for a rock and roll station, and well, your question was how different it is from like how the role play by radio here.
Yes, and how it seems to be as popular in the Philippines as it once was here.
Because radio here has a huge impact politically and socially, but now we have a lot of other mediums as well.
Yes.
YouTube and...
Well, the internet connections in the Philippines are not as widely available, and internet is very slow there. It's not dependable. So social media and digital media are still growing. The infrastructure is still growing. It's not available to a big portion of the population who can't afford it still. We have a subsistence economy, and there's a very high poverty level. So a lot of people cannot afford social and digital media yet. Although in urban areas, the millennials are on social media a lot. They use Spotify, all the
Snapchat.
Yeah, Snapchat and all that kind of
stuff.
stuff.
Still learning Snapchat.
But if you go to the rural areas, it's not available. So
I think somehow if you like go into the middle of a desert and there's a group of millennials there, they'll figure out a way to get onto Snapchat.
Yeah. Yes. And
it's fun. We should all try it.
Yes. The next time I'm trudging through the desert and I stumble upon some millennials, I'm going to say, "Can you get me on Facebook?"
So, Christina, how did you get involved in radio?
You meant Nadine.
Nadine.
Yeah.
Oh, see,
Christina's sitting next to
I
Tony.
knew it was Nadine. Christina's sitting next to me on my left.
Okay. I got involved in radio at a very young age because it was our family business and family duty and all that. So I started in my teens. And then I worked my way up from scotch taping vinyl album records.
Love a vinyl record.
Yes. To going on the air because there was no DJ. So there's nobody on the air from 12 to 2. So go down and do it. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't really have any formal training. I just went down and I just did it.
Great.
And then I started with an expat radio program, which was a once a week program which introduced me to all the diplomatic community. So we had a lot of foreign guests and we did cultural programs. And then I was a regular DJ as well. By regular, I mean I had a daily show, drive time from 6 to 9 a.m. And that was a lot of fun. I was so amazed at the fact that you push a button and the whole country can hear you. And people would still call on the landline at that time.
We still have that in this
still have
country. I do a lot of serious radio shows, and it's really interesting. I do a 9 p.m. to midnight show and talk to people from across the country, calling from their trucks like in Oregon or something. And
Yeah, isn't it
usually
amazing?
they're telling me how much they hate me, but it's still
really?
a wonderful connection. Feeling the hate coast to coast is good.
Oh, gosh.
They
Okay,
don't
well,
like my politics. And now watch this segue. We don't talk about politics on the show, but we can because it doesn't have to do necessarily with America. And you have some interesting political history with your station and your family. So
yes.
love to hear about that.
Yes, actually, DZRJ 8:10 a.m. was very instrumental in the EDSA People Power Revolution. There was initially, Cory Aquino had asked Radio Veritas, which is a Catholic radio station, to call the people to come to EDSA, which is a major freeway in the city, to protect 2 generals who had defected after the Marcos dictatorship. So the military bombed Radio Veritas, and our station's frequency was very close to it. So our engineers shaved it a little bit so the government couldn't tell where they were broadcasting from. And the station kept calling the people to come to EDSA, delivering messages from Father Reuter and the Cory Aquino and other people. They kept calling the people to come to EDSA, come to EDSA, come to EDSA, stand around the camp so that the generals would be protected. And
what year was this?
This was in 1986.
And when was
February?
And Cory Aquino's husband had been president, and then he came back and was assassinated coming off the plane.
Actually, he was not ever president.
Oh, he wasn't? Okay, but he was running for president.
No.
No? Ooh, okay.
She was running for president. Marcos had called a snap elections, and she ran for president, but he declared that he won, and she declared that she won, and so, there was a little bit of
Shows
drama.
my knowledge of
Just
history here.
A little bit of drama.
Yes.
Okay. Ninoy Aquino, though, he played a really instrumental
He was a pivotal political figure. Can I say
Yes.
that? Okay.
He's
I
a
got that
national
right.
hero. He was assassinated, and that's why his widow got the people's support.
Right.
Yeah, he was assassinated as soon as he got off the plane and landed in the Philippines in 1983.
So after all of this tumult, where do we stand right now in the Philippines? What's the future?
Well, President Duterte has just been elected. The radio has also sometimes picks candidates to support. Our station also supported Duterte in this last election. The Philippines is in a very interesting stage. I'm hoping for the best. People want change. The general consensus is that people want change. And so I think that that's why all the remarks that Duterte made that were shocking were sort of overlooked and bypassed. The young people and the businessmen and the general public just want change.
And you're supporting Duterte as well, then?
Personally, or
am I allowed to ask these things now? I am so unknowledgeable when it comes to certain foreign politics, and the Philippines is clearly out of my wheelhouse. So I'm curious about it, and my father was there during World War II, and I have a lot of photographs.
Oh,
from there.
he was?
Yes.
Have you ever been to the Philippines?
I have not. My father was in the Pacific Theater. He was on the battleship New Jersey.
Well, you have to come to the Philippines. You have to see our beautiful beaches.
I would love to.
We have white sand beaches and crystal clear water. It's beautiful
This
place.
is a good commercial. You could be a spokesperson for the Philippines.
Yes, yes.
The Philippines
Well,
is
we
beautiful.
do have 7,400 islands. It's an archipelago with lots of different islands, and we have about 250 dialects. So a lot of the stations broadcast in the local languages, especially the local community stations.
250 dialects.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. One national language.
Right.
And how long a trip is it from New York
the station
to the
I work for
Philippines?
is broadcast in English. Anyway, I'm sorry.
How long a trip is it to the Philippines from here?
14 hours maybe. It depends where you pass, what route you take.
I'm gonna have to make a couple of stops on the way, even if I'm flying first class.
Yes, yes. I came from Madrid, so very inaccurate estimation there. So
A 14-hour flight.
I
I'll
think
do
so.
it.
So are you living still in the Philippines or you're here now?
I live in the Philippines.
Philippines,
I'm
okay.
here on vacation. I do miss the U.S. though. I spent a lot of my life here in the United States. I used to live in California, in Hawaii, 1 year here in New York as a teenager.
All right, Nadine. So, what does the future hold for you? And so, can we find you on the internet? Do you have a website or?
Well, my future is at a crossroads right now because I've been on the radio for so long talking rock and roll, and I love music and I love rock and roll, and it's so much a part of me. But I think that I went back to school to get my master's degree in environmental management, and I would like to do some work to raise environmental awareness through mediums like radio and different educational programs. So I don't know where you can find me right now.
Okay. Well, you have an incredibly impressive resume.
Thank you.
It's like 19 pages long. Mine is like 4 lines. But he was born. He's a WOR.
Sells
Sleeps a lot.
condos.
Yeah, sleeps a lot. It's really impressive. And
Well, we wish you the best.
yes.
Well,
Thanks
thank
so
you so
much for
much.
coming to visit us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
It's so exciting to be in your studios. You know, is this like a dream come true?
Well, good.
Wow.
Come back the
I'm
next
in
time you're in
WOR
town.
in New
WOR
York.
Radio.
Wow.
Yes. 710 on your digital dial. An
Yes.
iHeart Media Company.
Yes.
Brought to you by Stribling and Associates and Tony Simone. Well, thanks so
Thanks for
much for
joining
coming
us.
in.
Thank you for having me.